This is a great day for Albuquerque. It's a great day for the West Side. And we're going to talk about some really good things today. And the first thing we're going to talk about is the fact that if you think you're seeing double, don't worry about it. We dedicated a sister station, station number 2, that's identical to station number 7 this morning. And it's the first time that anybody can remember in the city of Albuquerque where we've had 2 fire station dedications on the same day. And also on the same day we have 2 brand new engines worth about $500,000 a piece put into service on the same day. So congratulations to everybody that's involved. So I'm just really honored to be here. It's a great day for public safety. These new fire stations are going to do several things for us. First thing they're going to do is they're going to give the brave men and women of the Albuquerque Fire Department a fantastic place to work, a place to really promote public safety from, a more comfortable quarters. We had some fire stations between Station 2 and Station 7 that were very, very old. We had firefighters sleeping in rooms next to apparatus. It just was not a great situation for public safety or for the firefighters. And it wasn't a great thing for the neighborhoods. And both of these stations, and we'll talk about Station 7 here in just a minute, but both Station 2 and Station 7 had to overcome some significant challenges to get built. Councilor Sanchez will probably talk about this in just a few minutes. To get this station done today, with the funding challenges that we had, you know, there was some stimulus money that was supposed to go to this station, and frankly, we couldn't have spent it in time, and we would have had to give that money back. But between Chief Breen, Councilor Sanchez, all the legislators involved, the mayor's office, everybody came together to make this a reality. I promised Clarissa Pena this summer that she could sing a Christmas carol, that we'd be done in time for her to sing a Christmas carol at this station. So I think you're singing a Christmas carol later, isn't that right? Listen, we've got a lot of folks to thank today, so I'm going to give you a few of the basics, and then I'm going to let some of our elected officials speak today, obviously. You're standing in a brand new facility, obviously. We had two stations, Station 2 and 7. We designed them both with the same floor plan so that we were being good stewards of taxpayer dollars. They both have 3 bays to allow for expansion. They both have new living quarters, exercise equipment, fantastic kitchens, and great places for our firefighters. This is a $3 million facility, so this is not an inexpensive thing to do. And the sourcing for this, the resources for this came from several places. First of all, impact fees. $554,000 of the money for this station came from impact fees. And if you were reading the newspapers and watching the news lately, you will know that we just passed a brand new impact fee ordinance in the city of Albuquerque, thanks to the help of Councilor Sanchez and some other councilors. And we're no longer going to punish the West Side through the impact fee system. And so that's really good news, I think, for the West Side of Albuquerque. $128,000 of the money for this came from our friends through state grant funds. And that is really important. We've got several legislators that are going to talk to you today. And I can tell you, with the legislative session that's coming up, we simply cannot do the things that we do without the state legislature, without, I know our De La Cruz is here, without our friends in the county, and without our friends on the city council. A lot of the money came, $2.3 million, came from the red light camera program. So some of the fines that were left over from the red light camera program came into this. And that was part of this process where when the stimulus money didn't look like it was going to be able to be spent in time, in fact, history now will tell us it could not have been. It would have had to have been finished a long time ago. We would have been out looking for the million plus that we needed. Those funds came in absolutely to be critical. Decker Perry Sabatini is our design consultant, our engineering firm, an AE firm, a local firm. So local jobs were being created. They did a wonderful job. When you get a chance to walk through these are beautiful facilities. Lockwood Construction did the construction for us. Of course, we've got Mike Reardon, who's going to say a few things from municipal development. We put a heavy lift on these folks to get this thing done in such a hurry. And Stephen James is our city architect, also was involved in this. There's a lot of good things to say, and I'm going to hand the mic off now to Chief Breen. You know, we've got when we started talking about these, and we started working with Councilor Sanchez and with Councilor Benton at the time on Station 2, we saw all of these challenges. And Chief Breen came to the table and said, we are going to get this done. We're going to get the apparatus purchased. We're going to get the funding sources. This is going to happen. This is a man who loves his fire department. He comes into my office, if not daily, he comes in almost every other day, and he's always saying the same thing. We need equipment for our officers. We need fire stations. We need to do things to continue to respond to the community. And he's just doing a wonderful job. So I'm going to bring Chief Breen up to say a few words, and then after Chief Breen, Councilor Sanchez will be on deck. And then we've got Clarissa backing you up as well. So come on in, Chief.
Thank you, sir. Well, good afternoon. Thank you for coming today. This is a great day for the Albuquerque Fire Department. This public safety project started about 3 years ago when discussions began with Albuquerque's new mayor, Richard Berry, City Councilor Ken Sanchez, and Carissa Pena of SWAN, the West Central Community Development Group, and myself, to determine the possibility of relocating Fire Station 7, 10 blocks to the west, to the corner of 57th and Central, where we are today. These discussions were true collaborative efforts between numerous stakeholders in local government and community interest groups that resulted in the completion of a vital public safety project that really demonstrates the good executive leadership, key partnerships, and sound community priorities. When we put these things together, it produces something of great value that best serves the public interest. When I was appointed fire chief by Richard Berry, he gave me full latitude to evaluate the current state and direction of the fire department and to make the necessary changes and recommendations that would best serve the citizens of Albuquerque. And at the time, the relocation and replacement of Fire Station 7 was no more than a dream with several acres of vacant land purchased with state funding, but it had great potential, as you can clearly see today. I'm extremely honored and proud to be here at this grand opening today because, just as I stated, the prior administration, really the project was nothing more than an empty lot. And for this project to be completed in such challenging financial times is nothing less than remarkable, and clearly demonstrates the commitment this administration has to enhancing public safety services for its citizens. It's notable that while most communities across the United States are closing fire stations, decreasing services, and laying off firefighters, while this administration is building public safety facilities, purchasing new fire apparatus, and increasing firefighting staffing levels. This doesn't happen by chance. It's a result of sound strategic planning and the responsible use of our fiscal resources. Old Station 7 was constructed in 1951 as a single-engine house and is, as of today, 61 years old. It was later renovated to accommodate a rescue unit and is currently at 3,400 square feet. The new station that we're at today is a 3-bay station and is almost 8,000 square feet on 1 1/3 acre lot. The new fire station provides a much-needed and highly visible public safety presence along West Central. The Field of Dreams philosophy suggests, build it and they will come, and we believe that this facility will become a pillar that will result in new business investments along West Central Avenue. The new location provides for a better strategic placement of emergency response companies and will have a positive impact on response times while advancing the mutual and automatic agreement that we have with Bernalillo County Fire Department. And although not all the apparatus bays are currently occupied, the 3-bay design allows for future expansion capability to accommodate the placement and relocation of emergency response resources for future city growth. And on behalf of the men and women of the Albuquerque Fire Department, I'd like to say thank you to Mayor Richard Berry, the Albuquerque City Council, specifically Councilor Ken Sanchez, and to our citizens that participated in this process and supported this important public safety building. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Chief. Thanks, Chief. Speaking of true believers, I'm going to bring up Councilor Sanchez now. When the funding came into question that I talked about earlier through the stimulus funds, that wasn't good news. John Zamon's sitting back here. John's saying, yeah, it wasn't good news. But you know, we sat down and we said we're going to figure this thing out. By golly, we did. And Councilor Sanchez has been there every step of the way. He's been a joy to work with on this, and he's been a great advocate for this station. So with that, Councilor Ken Sanchez. Good to see you, my friend.
I'm a little bit short of the Mayor Berry, so I'm going to bring the microphone down. But before I start, I would like to have a moment of silence for Nicholas Ventura Arancon, the son of firefighter Diego Arancon, the union president. Nicholas passed away just right before Thanksgiving, and I know that Diego would like to be here today, but he just felt he couldn't be here. And also, I'd like to honor this afternoon Joseph Suarez Sr., who was an Albuquerque firefighter, and also those fallen firefighters. And also on this day, let's take a moment of silence to remember the 343 officers that died at the World Trade Center on 9/11. And also on this day, let us remember those 20 young children and also those 7 educators that gave up their lives protecting other young kids. And let's also keep in mind those first responders, the police officers and the firefighters that went into that school to see the tragedy that they had to experience. Let's please have a moment of silence. Thank you. When I woke up this morning, I knew that it was going to be one of those days in my life that I would never, ever forget. And I want to thank Mayor Berry, because when we broke ground for this fire station, he said this fire station would be completed before Christmas. Merry Christmas to this community. This gift is for you. Thank you. And thank you, Mayor. I also want to thank our former fire chief, who I met with several years ago, former Chief Robert Ortega, who is here today. Robert, thank you very much. We met at the old Fire Station 7 with Captain Grego at the time. Also, now Congressman Heinrich, who was our next U.S. Senator, was with us and said we need to find a way to build a new fire station for our firefighters. The old fire station was built in 1961, over 60, almost 60 years ago. We are finally here today as we close a chapter, and the parade today I thought was great. I want to welcome our Grand Marshal of the parade, Vincent Cordova, who just finished battling a couple of tumors that he had removed in Los Angeles. I'm sure you heard some stories in the media. Vincent, I'm really glad that you were here today. Thank you. And also another firefighter, John Brown, who was battling cancer. We are truly blessed to have both of you here today as we celebrate the opening of this new fire station. Thank you. And there are other people that I'd like to recognize. Cynthia Borrejo, who no longer works for the city of Albuquerque. She is retired. She worked for the Metropolitan Redevelopment Area. And one of the things that we wanted to see along West Central is we wanted to see a public safety component. You know, people are afraid to come to Albuquerque's west side to do business. People should not be. They should feel safe, and they should want to come and spend their money here on Albuquerque's West Central. Cynthia, you were a champion in working with me in securing the property along with Clarissa Pena and this community. Together, we have made a tremendous difference in making this dream come true for the citizens of this community. I also, as the mayor had mentioned, want to thank John Zaman. I mean, John, every time we would take one step forward with the funding, there was 2 steps back. We lost the $1 million in stimulus money, and the mayor and the chief said, Ken, don't worry about it. We will get this station built. Our accounting department, John Zaman, and our team were able to get the resources together, and that's why we are here today celebrating the opening of this new fire station. We have, for the first time in history, 2 fire stations in Albuquerque built and opened on the same day. Too bad we couldn't get it 2 for the price of 1. But this property cost us a little bit over $1 million. One of the things that we are looking at also doing is building some senior housing here at this location in the back, or some workforce housing for this community. You know, we've come a long way, but it's taken a lot of people. Together, we truly have made a difference in this community by working in collaboration with our elected officials from Santa Fe. Senator Lopez, thank you very much. And we have 2 aspiring and great new leaders that will be going to Santa Fe. We've got Michael Padilla and Jacob Candelaria, our new senator-elect. And I also want to say thank you to my policy analyst, Elaine Romero. I mean, she went to several meetings to make this possible. And I will close by saying, united as a community, and this is a proven fact as we stand here today, there is very little that we cannot do, and we've done it. Thank you. Have a Merry Christmas. May God bless America, and may God bless this community. Thank you.
You know, we got a lot of folks to thank, but Rob Perry right back there. Raise your hand, Rob. Rob's the guy in the jacket there. He's our CAO. Rob comes into my office also regularly, and he was really keeping a hawk eye on this project along with Mike Reardon. Mike, I guess you're not speaking, Mike, but raise your hand back there. He's with DMD, and like I said, this is a heavy lift. But I'm going to bring up Clarissa Pena now, and everybody here knows Clarissa, and it's been one of the great joys for me as a mayor to get a chance to work with her. I see Chris Bacchus here too with the YDI and all the great work that they do. This is really, as I travel around the city of Albuquerque, I can tell you there are pockets of real enthusiasm in the city, and it happens all over the city, but none more than I see on West Central. And Clarissa is just such a huge part of that. She gives of her time. She works with Louis Tafoya and Art Redberg's here, Joan Jones, everybody out here that really just cares so much and cares so deeply about this area. So with that, I'm going to bring up Clarissa, and she did. I'm not kidding. She did promise to sing a Christmas carol. So I don't know if she'll sing it now, or maybe if she'll sing it, she might sing it later. So Clarissa Pena.
Thank you. When the mayor's office called and they asked if I would lead the Christmas carols, I was like, you definitely don't want to hear me sing, so I don't think I'll be leading it. I just want to start off by saying, you know, it's been a long haul. We've started since the administration before. I'm so glad to see Chief Ortega here because we worked with him when we were looking at actually just purchasing the property. And from the community standpoint, you know, I just really want to congratulate them because they're the ones that are the driving force to make some of these things happen along West Central. So I'm just going to go off and read some of the names. Some of them aren't here, but a lot of them are. And these are the people, like I said, that really take of their time to attend these meetings month after month, week after week, and just try to make sure that we get things in our area of the city. First of all, Louis Tafoya, please raise your hand. Norm and Belinda Mason, Tony Chavez, Ed Lopez, who is here somewhere, Art Gonzalez, Rick and Jean Jenkins, Cecilia Romero, Jeanette Baca, Jerry Gallegos, Larry Nelson, Van Barber, Kelly Chappelle, Geraldine, Becky Davis, who is here. If I forgot any of you, actually, I did. I can see who I forgot. Max and Jenny. Joan Jones and her better half, Nancy Montano and Charisse Quesada. These are the people that really are dedicated to making things happen in our community. And we've been doing this for many years. We've seen the fruits of our labor come to fruition time after time. This fire station has been one of the most significant ones that I believe that is going to be the catalyst for the redevelopment of West Central. And part of what's helped keep our group together is people like Mr. Baca, who has actually been an inspiration to us and has allowed us, has been the backbone organization to helping us do all the work we do. And most of all, I want to say that for us to be successful in the community as community members, we wouldn't have been able to do it, as the mayor mentioned and City Councilor Sanchez mentioned, without the collaborations that we've had throughout the years with the capital outlay money from the state legislatures, with like Senator Lopez, who have, and Representative Maestas, who has helped us to get the money to secure the property. And of course, working with the prior administration, and of course, Mayor Barry. You know, when we first started doing this, we had already acquired the property, and we were trying to get some of the funding for the fire station. And with the new administration, I hadn't met the mayor. I didn't know whether he was going to be receptive to it or not. And I actually, the night before, about 10 o'clock at night, I called Elaine Romero. I asked if I could meet with Chief Breen and David Campbell at 8 o'clock in the morning at Western View to see if they would sign a letter for $1 million to get this. And so when we met in the morning, I remember Dave Campbell said, well, when do you need the letter? I said, by 5 p.m. tonight. And sure enough, Mayor Chavez and everyone signed it, and that was just what's led to what we're doing here today. And John Zaman, Cynthia Borrego, as they mentioned earlier, Mike Reardon, all of you guys have just been instrumental in helping us get to where we're at. So community, you guys did it. Congratulations.
Clarissa's right, and the other good news besides the fire station is that there's more good things coming. There's a lot of things in the books for West Central, from public transportation, from bus rapid transit. I know Councilor Sanchez is working really diligently on the library with the new transit center that's up here, with some of the zoning changes, the impact fee things. This isn't the last good thing we're going to be able to announce working with the neighborhood. So I'm going to bring up Joan Jones, and she's right here. I'm going to pull this out here.
Thank you, Mayor, I appreciate it. I've lived next to the fire station, the old fire station, for over 40 years, and our association is going to miss not having them down the road. But the thing is, this is a well overdue facility, and I think because we're growing so quickly here on the west and southwest side, we really, really needed this. I want to thank Clarissa, Ken, the mayor, and the administration for all that they have done to get this facility built. I think our firefighters deserve better than that little tiny station that looks like a little bandbox compared to this. And I just wanted to make sure that they know that, hey, Pat Hurley's still down there, guys, so don't forget you can still come down and see us. And I was hoping to say that my only hope is that the old fire station is not left to become run down, unused. And I'm not sure that selling it's the best idea, because we're, it's not, we need so much in this community, and I think we can find something better to do with it. And I want to thank everyone, Jeanette Baca and the Bacas for all that they've done, and all of our legislators. Mo, thank you. And it's just been great to see something this great being built. Thank you.
Thanks. Thanks, John.
Thanks, Joan.
Joan and I were talking earlier. The library, the Esperanza Library, and this is we'll have this coming up fairly soon. It's being renovated right now into a neighborhood bicycle shop where we'll be able to have lessons and teach kids how to take care of bikes and really pay tribute to Richard Rivas and all the great work that he did as well. So that's another ribbon cutting, but I did want to bring that up because Joan was right on top of it today. I'm next going to bring up Louis Tafoya. Louis is a guy that we see at City Hall quite often. He comes down and he's a true advocate for the area, and he's going to come share a few words with us as well. Louis.
Thank you. I wrote everything down because I don't want to tick anybody off, so if I mess up, call me on it. Anyway, on behalf of the West Mesa Association, let me please accept our thanks for this new facility. We've worked a long time for enhancing West Central and the whole community here on the west side, especially along West Central. I would also like to extend that appreciation to all the folks that made this happen. That includes our political leaders, includes a lot of community folks, and there's just too many for me to mention, so I don't want to not mention somebody and they'll get upset, so I'll just say thank you very much, and I know that it took a lot of folks to do this, and I guess one last thing I would say is that it's been my dream, and I've been asking the state legislature for years. I haven't done that in about 3 years though, but this whole block, Yucca, Esperanza Drive, 57th Street and Central, I had been pushing for an Atrisco Cultural Center. Do you hear that, legislators? Anyway, at one time we could have bought this whole thing that whole block for $1.5 million. I'm sure it's a heck of a lot more now, but that's still a pretty good thing that we can enhance West Central. At the same time, we can fix that problem we have on Yucca. And I won't say anything more about that. You know what I'm saying. Anyway, thank you all again. Thank you all for being here. I know there's a lot of good people here, and I really appreciate it. I would say Merry Christmas and Feliz Navidad.
Thanks, Louis. And next we're going to bring up Art Redberg from West Side Coalition President, and to say a few words, share a few words with us as well. Art?
Thank you, Mayor. I I promised Elaine I'd have the shortest speech here, but the West Side Coalition today celebrates with all of you the dedication of this new fire facility. And we're a coalition of 37 neighborhood associations that come together, as Ken mentioned, to work as a community spirit, to work for the better of the West Side. And so we really do celebrate this. I read in the paper this morning that there's a guardian angel down on 47th Street. So for all the first responders who put their life on the line every day, I pray that the guardian angel will continue to look over all of our first responders in 2013. Thank you.
See, Jason Marks has joined us as well. Jason, good to see you today. I'm going to bring up a friend of mine, Antonio. We call him Mo. Mo and I were freshmen together in the state legislature. He is now your brand new, newly minted majority whip in the House, and we're real proud of him for that. And that's good news for Albuquerque, I'll tell you what. He's been a great advocate for a lot of great causes, and like I said, we don't end up having things like this if we don't have city, county, state involvement. And Mo's been a real good leader on this. So Mo, why don't you come on and share a few words with us?
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor. And like the mayor said, my name is Mo Maestas. I have the beautiful honor of representing this neighborhood in the State House. And to have this station here is just tremendous. Let me just share, you think back of those old westerns where the barn's on fire and people were like passing the buckets of water and stuff like that. The firefighters is a tremendous profession. It started off as volunteers, neighborhoods, and as the rise of cities in the 20th century, society advanced to the point where we have full salaried professional, full-time, city-employed firefighters. And so negative noise may suggest that this is big government. Well, no, that's not fair. This is government at its best. Because for you guys to pull the resources, and I was proud to chip in from fighting for state funding for this, to pull the resources to do this during a Great Recession is just tremendous. It's tremendous for the mayor and for Ken Sanchez. And Ken's always honoring other people, but we have to honor him for his work. So we're going to call you a Ken Sanchez, Councilor. So because this beautiful, fire truck sleigh. But not only spending money in the Great Recession is the smartest thing government could do, but more importantly than that, it just adds to adds value to a tremendous neighborhood that we already know is beautiful. Now the whole city knows it's fantastic. So hopefully, property values will raise on the margin, insurance premiums will kind of lower. But most importantly is that the fact that it's on the south side of Central is tremendous, because then the firefighters can make a right-hand turn, because as we all know, there's 50,000 homes up there. My mom had a massive asthma attack about 17 years ago, and we talk about 911 response time. The fact that the fire department got there in time is the reason that she's so proud of me to this day. So I just want to pray for the firefighters, the men and women of the department, make sure that they remain safe and they remain in our prayers, and that we all as a community can learn from them, because thank goodness there's not very many fires like in the old days, but they deal with a lot of folks who are down and out, drug addiction, alcoholism, and they get them safe to the hospitals, things like that. So if we share that compassion with the men and women of the fire department, we'll be much better as a society. So thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Councilor Sanchez, Captain. Thank you.
Thanks. We're going to bring up Senator Sandra Rue next. When we look at the funding for these projects, we look at different pieces of legislation. Senator Lopez has sponsored legislation for this. Senator Rue. There's a long list and some end up getting approved, some don't. But the fact is, we've got lots of people involved in this. And one of the pieces of legislation that actually provided funding came from Sandra Rue and Joe Carraro. So come on up, Sandra, and give us a few words. Thanks.
Thank you, Mayor, and thank you, everyone. It's an honor and a privilege to be here today to dedicate this building. This is one of those seminal moments that, as an elected official, public official, that you'll remember always. I think it's important to remember that when we make a call for first responders, whether it's police, fire, EMTs, we have a hope and an expectation that they'll be there quickly to help us. oftentimes putting themselves in harm's way to do that. And I think as a community, we have an obligation to them to make sure they have the facilities and the equipment to do that job. And today, we look around, we see the equipment, we see the facilities that will help them do that job, working for us, which is, after all, to be there for us when we need them. And I want to thank all of the first responders for being there to make our community safe and to help and make our families safer too. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Andy. I don't see Joe here. Is Joe around? You know what? I'm going to bring up, put Senator Lopez on the spot. She was one of the sponsoring legislators, and you want to share a few words with us before we get Jacob up here? Come on up, Senator Lopez. Good to see you.
As a politician, sometimes we like to speak, right? Yeah, come on, we just come off an election cycle, so yes, yes, yes. But I do want to say thank you, first of all, to the community for your leadership and for what you do to teach us as your elected officials about what the needs are of where we live. I'd like to also say thank you to the leadership of Mayor Barry, but most importantly, I think we will say Ken Sanchez. I like that. Doesn't that sound cool? But I think it's all of us working together. And I know for those who are the first responders, you know, we have made phone calls to my home to take care of my mother, and you were there, you responded. You helped to take care of her and many other people as we are out talking to people in our communities. This is just another piece of that puzzle as we begin more of the development, redevelopment, and extension of West Central. And remember, there's West Side Day in the legislature coming up, February 27th, and I'd love to see everybody that's here to be up with us in Santa Fe. It's a great day to come and lobby and work for more as we continue to put some more of the capital outlay into our community here on the west side, West Central of our great, wonderful city. And again, Merry Christmas, and may God bless everybody. Thank you.
And I'm going to, for the last of our elected officials, I'm going to bring up your newly minted Senator Jacob Candelaria. And I'm going to say he was just elected caucus chair in the Senate. And let me tell you why this is important and why it's important that Mo's in a leadership position. When I was in the legislature, I'm not sure that we had any, or we had very few leadership positions in the state legislature that actually came from the city of Albuquerque. And sometimes what happens in the legislature, some of the arguments aren't necessarily Democrat-Republican arguments, or kind of urban-rural arguments. And so it's important that we have representation in leadership, and we've got that. We've got that both on the Republican side of the aisle now and on the Democratic side of the aisle as well. And Jacob's going to be part of that equation, so let's have him come up and share a few words with us as well.
Good afternoon, everyone, and I just want to start out by adding my voice of thanks to all of you as members of the community for being such a force of energy to make projects like this happen. To Ken Sanchez, to our mayor, to our county partners, to my legislative colleagues for really coming together and doing what's best for the West Side. You know, I'm new, and I'm your new senator, and all I can say today is that you have my commitment to partner with all of these good folks in continuing the redevelopment and revitalization of our historic neighborhoods along West Central. This is a crown jewel of the city of Albuquerque, and it's time that we start really putting that out in front of people. And lastly, I would just like to thank in a special way the men and women of the fire department, but all of our armed services and those people who put their lives in danger to protect all of us. And I'll share with you today that this session I plan to sponsor a bill that would reduce the taxes that the state of New Mexico places on the pensions earned by firefighters, police officers, law enforcement officials, veterans, and teachers. These are the heroes of our community, and it's time the state of New Mexico stepped up and recognized that. So thank you all again. Before I step off, before the applause happens, I do want to say, I have a hard time keeping me under time limits. I do want to ask you all to join me in a special moment of silence as well, though. We just lost our former Speaker of the House, Ben Lujan Sr. And Ben was, I used to work for him, and was a longtime champion of this state and gave his life to the state of New Mexico. So if you'd all join me in a moment of silence for Speaker Lujan. Amen. Thank you all and Merry Christmas.
Thanks, Steve. And we got some new faces in the legislature as well. Michael Padilla is here with us today. He'll be representing Albuquerque as well. So, you know, are you seeing the theme here? You know, we work together, good things happen. We've got heroes. We want to support our heroes. We want to make sure that our community is safe. And these are just perfect examples of really, you know, when we come in on a hurdle, we knock it over or we jump over it. We get it figured out. And by golly, we did it. And we're really proud of everybody involved here today.